Picture this. You're going about your day, and suddenly something happens that tests your patience. Maybe it's the traffic that won't move, an unexpected delay, or a co-worker's annoying habit. Your frustration grows, and you feel the tension rising. It's easy to let moments like these ruin your mood. But what if I told you that you don't have to be a slave to these emotions? What if there was a way to not only manage these feelings, but actually turn them into opportunities for growth? In today's fast-paced world, we often get caught up in small irritations that accumulate throughout the day, leaving us feeling stressed, frustrated, and sometimes overwhelmed. But what if we could flip the script on these frustrations? What if instead of letting them weigh us down, we could use them to cultivate inner peace, resilience, and wisdom? This is where the ancient philosophy of Stoicism comes into play. Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to control how we respond to the daily challenges we face, no matter how big or small. And this ability to master our reactions is the key to living a more fulfilling, peaceful, and resilient life. Today, we're diving deep into the timeless teachings of Stoicism, exploring how its practical wisdom can help us transform our reactions to life's frustrations and build a foundation for greater personal growth. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why Stoicism has influenced some of the world's greatest minds for centuries, but you'll also walk away with strategies that you can implement immediately to start living a more centered and empowered life. Before we get started, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you find this content valuable and want to continue learning with me, subscribing is a simple and free way to ensure you stay connected. Plus, be sure to stick around until the end of the video, because we're going to explore some transformative Stoic strategies that will help you cultivate a deeper sense of calm and control, no matter what life throws your way. So, let's jump right in. Let's talk about something we all experience: anger. Whether it's that driver who cuts you off, the colleague who won't stop talking over you in meetings, or the plan that falls apart at the last minute. Anger is a natural emotion that we all feel from time to time. But here's the kicker. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. And this distinction is what makes all the difference. The first key lesson of Stoicism revolves around our relationship with emotions like anger. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius emphasized that external events themselves aren't what cause our distress. It's our interpretation of those events that triggers our emotional responses. In other words, it's not the traffic jam, the annoying co-worker, or the dead phone battery that's making you upset. It's the way you're choosing to perceive those events. Lesson 1. Recognize that your emotions are shaped by the judgments you make about external events. When you feel anger rising, pause and ask yourself, what judgment am I making about this situation? Is there another way I can see this? This simple act of questioning can help you reframe the situation and prevent a negative emotional spiral. Think about it like this. You're stuck in traffic and your frustration begins to build. But is it really the traffic that's the problem? Or is it the expectation that your drive should be smooth and uninterrupted? By changing your perspective, you can diffuse your anger and regain a sense of calm. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't change the external world, we can change our internal world, and that's where our power lies. Let's take this a step further. When you start to acknowledge your anger, it becomes an opportunity for growth. This brings us to lesson 2. Use moments of frustration as opportunities to practice virtues like patience, understanding, and resilience. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress or deny our emotions. Instead, it invites us to understand them and use them as a way to develop deeper self-awareness and emotional control. Imagine you're working on a group project and one of your teammates isn't pulling their weight. Your first instinct might be to get angry or frustrated. But instead of reacting impulsively, what if you took this as an opportunity to practice patience and clear communication? By reframing the situation, you not only reduce your stress, but also open the door to more constructive solutions. This practice of reframing your perspective is key to navigating life's challenges with greater ease. Epictetus often taught that the only thing we truly control is our own mind, our thoughts, our actions, and our attitudes. Everything else, from other people's behavior to the weather, is outside our control. This is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, learning to focus on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. Lesson 3. Focus on what you can control. Think about the amount of stress we create for ourselves by worrying about things that are beyond our control. Whether it's someone else's actions, an unexpected delay, or a missed opportunity, so much of our frustration stems from trying to control the uncontrollable. Stoicism teaches us to shift our focus inward, to take responsibility for our thoughts and actions, while releasing the need to control everything around us. Here's a practical example. Let's say you're in a hurry to get to a meeting, but you're stuck in traffic. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you react to it. Maybe you decide to use the time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or practice mindfulness. By focusing on what's within your control, you reduce stress and make the most of the situation. This shift in mindset not only helps you manage your emotions in the moment, but also builds resilience over time. And speaking of mindfulness, this brings us to another essential Stoic practice, the power of staying present. Lesson 4. Cultivate mindfulness to create a space between what happens to you and how you choose to react. Mindfulness is all about being fully aware of the present moment, without judgment or distraction. When we practice mindfulness, we create a pause between the event and our reaction, allowing us to choose a response that aligns with our values instead of reacting impulsively. For example, when someone says something hurtful, your immediate reaction might be to snap back or get defensive. But what if instead you paused and observed your feelings? What if you allowed yourself a moment to reflect before responding? This is the power of mindfulness. It gives you the space to choose your response rather than being controlled by your emotions. A simple way to practice mindfulness in everyday situations is to focus on your breath. The next time you feel frustration, anger, or stress rising within you, take a few deep breaths. This helps you center your mind and body, pulling your attention away from the source of stress and bringing you back to the present moment. Another technique is what I like to call sensory mindfulness. Pick an ordinary activity, like drinking coffee or taking a walk, and focus entirely on that experience. Pay attention to the sights, sounds, smells, and sensations of the moment. This practice helps train your brain to stay present and calm, even in more challenging situations. Mindfulness also connects with a core Stoic teaching, the impermanence of all things. Lesson 5. Remember that everything is temporary, even our emotions. This idea is incredibly liberating because it reminds us that no matter how difficult a situation may seem, it won't last forever. Whether it's anger, sadness, or disappointment, our emotions, like everything else, are constantly changing. By embracing the impermanence of life, we learn to navigate change with greater grace and resilience. Think about how often we resist change because we're attached to how things should be. Maybe you didn't get that job promotion or a personal relationship ended unexpectedly. It's natural to feel upset, but Stoicism teaches us to see these changes as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. This leads us to Lesson 6. Embrace change as a natural part of life. Stoicism reminds us that life is in constant flux, and resisting that change only creates more suffering. When we let go of our attachment to specific outcomes and learn to adapt, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and growth. This doesn't mean we stop caring about what happens. It means we learn to accept what we cannot control and focus on what we can. But how do we put this into practice in our daily lives? Start by observing the small changes around you. Notice how the seasons shift, how your emotions fluctuate throughout the day, and how your relationships evolve over time. By paying attention to the transient nature of life, you become more comfortable with the idea that nothing is permanent, and that's okay. Lesson 7. Shift your perspective on setbacks and frustrations. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, view them as opportunities to strengthen your patience, resilience, and adaptability. When something doesn't go according to plan, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this experience? This simple mindset shift can transform how you approach life's challenges. For instance, if you've ever been passed over for a promotion, your initial reaction might be frustration or disappointment. But Stoicism invites you to reflect on the situation differently. Perhaps this setback is an opportunity to improve your skills, reassess your goals, or even find a better path forward. By reframing how you view the situation, you empower yourself to move through challenges with a sense of purpose and control. Let's move on to another important aspect of Stoicism: forgiveness. Lesson 8. Forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of resentment. When we hold on to grudges, we carry emotional baggage that weighs us down and keeps us stuck in the past. By choosing to forgive, we release that weight and create space for peace and healing. But forgiveness isn't always easy. It requires self-awareness and emotional control, qualities that Stoicism encourages us to cultivate. When we practice forgiveness, we're not condoning wrongdoing. We're choosing to prioritize our own mental and emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches us that no one is perfect, and everyone, including ourselves, makes mistakes. Reflecting on your shortcomings can help you develop empathy for others, making it easier to forgive. Lastly, we come to self-control, the foundation of emotional mastery. Lesson 9. Self-control gives you the power to pause before reacting, allowing you to choose actions that align with your long-term goals. Whether it's resisting the urge to lash out in anger or choosing to stay calm in the face of adversity, self-control is the key to maintaining peace of mind and staying true to your values. Practicing self-control takes time and effort, but every time you pause and reflect before acting, you strengthen your ability to navigate life with clarity and purpose. Over time, self-control becomes second nature, empowering you to make decisions that serve your higher self. Thank you for joining me today on this journey through Stoic wisdom. Every small step you take toward mastering your emotions brings you closer to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to check out the suggested videos on your screen to continue exploring the teachings of Stoicism. Together, we're not just learning, we're growing and transforming.